Hello, welcome back to Technology Flows, where we're reviewing Lightning components from the Salesforce App Exchange. This episode we're looking at the Lightning Utility Pack from a company called Lightners. Here's their listing on the App Exchange. So they've got some screenshots there. So this looks like it's a library which contains a few different types of widgets. So they have a date and time display, a number of different flavors of counting of cases, and then also opportunity values as well. So I thought a good place to start with trying this out would be to put it into a page in Salesforce 1 Mobile. So if we load up the app builder, I already have my page here to try out the different components from the Lightning Utility Pack. So I've already put one on there. They've got this nice header bar as well that you can use to separate layouts. So it's really interesting as I start looking at these things how simple some of these components are, but it's something that I know from experience with other platforms and technologies you just use time and time again in terms of creating the user interface. So this is the date and time control. I don't think there's any customization on it. But it just has a nice, pretty display of the current date and time. So whether that's useful, I don't know, but it's certainly pretty. So let's put on some of these case counting widgets. Let's put another heading on. And let's say also, let's see my open cases and my closed cases as well. And let's change the title of the heading bar. Let's say something like who's working. And then you can see we get nicely formatted little lozenge with a case count number on there. So they also have total open cases, total closed cases as well. Now they've got two other ones here, recent logins. So let's put that one on and see what's going on there. So again, this is nicely formatted. You can control the number of entries that you see, but you can see your login history. Again, I'm not sure about the practical use of that, but I think it demonstrates that there's no information that's off limits really. You can put whatever you want into a component and format it up for display. The one that I didn't have any luck trying to understand how it worked was the sales regions, but I think that shows some nicely formatted sales data from the screenshots that I saw. But let's try this out in mobile. So I've just saved it. Let's just check where it is on the menu. Okay, it's up at the top already, so that's fine. So let's have a look over here on our Salesforce 1 app. Okay. So very nice, just as we would expect. It's got the case count, the date and time, and the login history. So that was all good. I had some fun with that. Now let's have a look at what we can do with these controls on the Lightning desktop. So what I thought it would be good to do is if we put the case counting widgets onto the cases record detail page. So let's have a look at that. Here in the navigation, I will go down to our cases. I've got a test case here in my developer org. And you see it's just the standard layout. Now because I've enabled the pilot feature, I can edit that page. Okay, now if we look in our selection of components, we've got our open cases and our closed cases, as well as total open cases and total closed cases. So what I thought is let's try putting those across the top, kind of like a subheading. So if all goes well, we should be able to add that. Got the right place. So that was total close. Let's put on total open. Okay, so they're adding one underneath each other, and that's not exactly going to be a good use of space, but let's just see where we get to. So we've got my closed cases, we want to put my open cases on, and then we'll just have a quick preview and see what that looks like. So yeah, we want to activate and override the system default page to use our case record page. And then when we go back, it's going to load up with our modified page. Okay, so it's nice and pretty. I like the way they formatted it, but as you see, it blows away all of the page. So that got me thinking, I wonder if I can use these components as part of a component where I can control the layout a little bit better. So let's see if we can do that. So I'm going to take the developer console, and what I've done here is I've created a new Lightning component which just references each of the case counter components from Lightners. Now, by including the declaration up here for implements FlexiPage, that means that it'll be available for us in the app builder as well. So let's have a look and see what that looks like. If I go back and edit the page, let's take off our individual case components. There we go, bye-bye. And we've got our case dashboard component, which is the one that I created. So there's no properties for it. I've really just assembled the 4 components into my own single component. Now, that looks exactly the same. So we're not really any further along. What I've done is to put the 4 components from the Lightning Utility Pack into my own Lightning component, but I haven't changed the way that the layout is rendered on the page. What we need to do now is to tell each of the components that they should line up next to each other instead of underneath each other. Now, to do that, we can use the Lightning Design System. Here we are back in the developer console, and what I've done is to take a copy of my original case dashboard component and add some styling to it. So I've called that case dashboard stylish. So let's have a look at what's in there. Well, the initial structure is exactly the same. We've got our declarations up the top and then our references to each of the components from the Lightning Utility Pack. But what I've done now is to add some CSS information based on the grid layout from the Salesforce Lightning Design System to tell each of the components that where possible they should line up next to each other, but when the screen area gets too narrow, then they should reflow underneath one another. Now, I found all this information on the Salesforce Lightning Design website. There's lots of good information there, lots of great documentation. I did have to play around a little bit to find out how to get the controls to behave in the way that I wanted to. Maybe this isn't a perfect implementation, but we got the job done, and I'm really encouraged about how these things fit together. So let's take a look now and see what this new component looks like on our case layout. Back on our case detail page then, what I need to do is to take off the existing case dashboard component that I made and replace it with case dashboard stylish. And that's already looking much more like what I had in mind. They're all lined up together. So let's save that and see what it looks like actually on the page. Okay, that is looking very nice. So what we've done there is to use 4 existing components that we've downloaded from the App Exchange, and then we've put them into our own component and added some styling to allow them to line up. Now let's just see what happens when we resize the page. You see that using the Lightning Design System, they reflow to turn into a 2x2 instead of a single line. So what we've seen with the Lightning Utility Pack is some simple, very attractively formatted components which can be used individually, or we can add them to our own components with additional styling. I hope you found this useful. Love your feedback. Please tweet me, please like the video, and we'll see you again next time.